My name is Sam Drake. I'm a manager of Denmark Street Community Centre and I come from the Shankill myself.
My name is Jared Fusco. My job here has been for 25 years as youth leader in charge of the Youth Project, which works out of the Shankill Centre. And as I say, I grew up and was born in the local Falls community.
I'm Tierney, I'm 17 and I'm from West Belfast.
My name's Donovan, I'm 19 years old and I'm from the Shankill area.
My name's Tony, I'm 13 and I'm from Davis.
My name's Alyssa, I'm 16 and I'm from the Féile area.
My name's Amy, I'm 15 and I'm from Davis.
Things that make me proud of my local community would kind of be like the sense of togetherness, you know, whether it is hard times or it's just a normal day, there is a massive sense of community. Even when push comes to shove, the community stands by each other, and I am proud to say that I'm from the Shankill Road, you know, it's a lovely place to live.
The things that make me proud of my local community are the fact that they're so hard working and they actually are a community. Like, they're not just people that live next to each other, they work together and they do everything they can to take kids off the street and the better of the community.
First of all, I'm very proud of my community. I come from a very sort of proud, I know the background that I grew up in the 60s really, at the whole start of the present conflict and all the civil rights and stuff. And I've always been, that's been a big influence on my whole life about the conflicts through the community, resilience and struggle. And so that's always been in mind about not just youth who are essentially the future thing, but nevertheless the whole community. So I take that ethos. So I'm really proud that young people obviously sometimes in recent years get a sort of a bad sort of stereotype. Some young people, especially in this community, will be stereotyped over the years as all young people down there is bad. And I know that's completely different. Because I said I've been working with maybe hundreds, maybe thousands of young people over the years. And to see where they all are now in jobs, careers, community champions, whatever, is great.
The things that make me proud of my community was, as soon as lockdown was announced, Chip and all the other leaders went and got money and done the community parcels, give it to people who need some. At Easter and Halloween and everything, there's always events, and the other youth centre, St Peter's, is always out, so is Chip. And like whenever there's graffiti and the area needs cleaned, we are the first one to go out and do it.
The things that make me proud of my local community is the youth organisations like our city, because it gives young people a place to go and learn about the people of the other communities.
The things that make me proud of my local community are how like all the young people come together and like do things for the community and help out, especially with like the youth club, like do clean-ups and help around door to door with all the elderly, you know.
People run the young people down, but to me, when you get to know the young people, you get respect from them and you have to respect them back. So it's good to work with young people and bring them up that they're not going to get involved in trouble in interface areas. We try our best between the volunteers and ourselves to keep kids away from interface areas and try and mix them as best we can. Don't bring them up to have hatred against anybody.
The main issues that affect me, and I think most people in West Belfast, is probably suicide and mental health, because it is something that we are exposed to very much at a young age that we shouldn't be, and it just became like the normality when it shouldn't. At the start, it used to be when somebody would take their own life, devastating, and it still is very devastating, but it's more like, oh, that's another life gone, like it's like not something new anymore, we're just used to it. Mental health is something that most teenagers now have went through. They've all went to at least a funeral, or knew somebody, or knew of somebody, or knew somebody that knew somebody. In that sense, that has took their own life or is tried, and that is just been affected by mental health, and I think that's definitely the biggest one.
What affects the community is the death driving, and like drugs and alcohol and house burglaries, and like my mate's bike gets stolen the other day and now he has no bike. Mental health, like sometimes people have to ring ambulances and things because people are trying to jump off the bridge over at the motorway, or the green bridge, which is only beside our club. And just imagine someone did jump and one of the juniors seen it, it would terrify them, and that would be the thing of the rest of their life.
I think the issues that affect young people in our area is boredom, because some young people aren't aware of the youth organisations like our city, and they're not knowing where to go, and therefore they're on the streets, and it's leading to antisocial behaviour, and then they're bored and they're not knowing what to do with themselves, and they're getting involved in things that shouldn't be.
And employment for young people is very little of it in both communities. And facilities for teenagers in particular, there's no really great facilities in this area for teenagers to go till at night. I think there's a lot of mental health in the lower Shankill in particular. Now, I don't know about lower Falls, but in the lower Shankill there is mental health, and there's been 4 or 5 suicides in the area.
The issues that affect me and others in my community are mental health, underage drinking, drugs, and like deaf drivers and stuff.
The issues I think that are affecting young people within my area would definitely be mental health. It's a really massive issue at the minute. I don't know where it's coming from. Maybe from another issue, which is drugs. I think they all play a massive role in our communities and on our young people. It kind of makes them a wee bit less self-aware and stuff like that. And yeah, I just feel it needs to be tackled. You know, things aren't good right now.
Probably the biggest issue, without doubt, and it's been mentioned many times, probably be mentioned a lot more in the future, has been mental health with young people. Severe fears, pressures which they're under.
Everyone is equal as a person, and people do go through different issues. So it doesn't really matter what side of the wall you're on, you're all going through the same thing.
I think people from the both political and religious divide do suffer from boredom because, again, we're all just teenagers, we're all suffering from the same things. Our routine's really similar, so I don't see why they're not suffering from the same situations.
Because we're different, they might be Protestants, we're Catholics, that mean we don't have the same problems. Yes, they have mental health, we have mental health, they have racism, we have racism. We have sectarianism, so do they.
Absolutely, I definitely think young people from each side of the divide suffering from the same ones. Just because there's gates, walls or whatever in the middle does not mean that on each side of the road it's different. I feel that all young people are suffering from boredom, mental health, drugs, alcohol problems. It's massive. It's massive in our communities. You see it, it's the weekends, where are kids, parks, antisocial behaviour. No, I'm not associating them all, because not all of them do it, but they're bystanders of it. And it needs to stop somehow.
I'm very optimistic about the future as a young person. If you look at the way it used to be years ago, when the police were always around, there was always fights, there was always something going on, bonfires, and now it's football. Yes, there is still antisocial behaviour, but it's improved.
I'm so optimistic about the future as a young person, absolutely. I believe that there's so much room for change, there's so much more we can be doing with the correct resources. I know we can do this, and the young people want change. The young people don't want to be involved in antisocial behaviour, like I said, it's not them all. You know, maybe 10 out of the 50 that's there, they're just bystanders of it because there's nothing else to do, there's nowhere else to go. We need to give them more places, more opportunities, more services for them to be able to use and take advantage of, instead of running about the streets.
Very optimistic about the future for this club because this club's here, St Peter's is here, St Peter's is getting a new building, and here might get bigger, don't know, might get better opportunities, but I think it'll be good for any kids that come. I would advise them to come to both clubs.
I would like to see all communities united together, and no such thing as you can't go here and you can't go there. And hopefully the way we're working with the kids, that's the way these kids will come up with, they'll respect every religion, every culture, and they'll make a difference for anyone. We'll all be the same, all equal.
I am very optimistic for the future as a young person, especially in my community, because there's a lot of opportunities for me here as a young person. I can go to my local youth club and do some volunteering and help out with the younger kids.
I'm very hopeful about our future as a young person because the work that youth organisations are doing is improving our communities and it's improving the young people in our communities, and I hope that people are seeing the improvement that it's making and that more people will get involved because of it.
Well, as I probably mentioned earlier on, I'm a glass half full man, always helping, very positive outlook in life. This here job is sort of deepens that. And I'm always trying to look at the positive life. Maybe it's because of my age, I'm getting a wee bit on. But I always believe I'm very positive and look at positive in life. And who better than when you look at young people and they are the future. And I think I'm always proud this year that things are not so bleak. Because I remember through the dark days of the 70s and 80s, people saying, oh, things are so bad. I say, listen, that's life. Always look for the future. You know, so I'm always a positive. Things may have been bad, but you can also make them better. And that's always my attitude. And young people, who bad net in young people, and that's what we're trying to develop. It's probably here with Féile, with volunteers. Use of the future. And I think it augurs well.